Audi Olympian here, bringing the sound and video to you today, coming to you from the Coliseum. Hey, if this is your first time visiting our channel, we want to welcome you. Thanks for stopping by. If you watch this whole video and you find it helpful and useful, if you could hit that like button, we'd really appreciate the support. So, as you already saw, this video today is going to be on the Anthem AVM 70. Yes, really excited. We just got this processor in. Luckily, my local high-end store is an Anthem and Paradigm dealer. I was really excited about getting this one and swapping out and comparing my old, or my former, I should say, my former preamp processor, which still is really good condition. I mean, even on the used market, that model is still selling for anywhere between $900 and $1,100 there. Very good preamp processor. But two main reasons why I wanted to get this one. On top of getting something more current and new, one, it wasn't the channels. I mean, we don't necessarily need 15 channels of speakers. Well, we do, but we don't, right? So I wanted something that was going to be future-proof. And in the event that I did want to add more channels into it. So that's a bonus there. But the two main reasons that I got this one, it has the ARC auto room correction capabilities, and from everything that I've researched and read and heard and watched on it, ARC is far more superior, and you have more controls than your Odyssey, which is what Marantz uses. So that was one. The second one, actual dual LFE channel output. So you're supposed to get two different LFE signals outputted from this processor. So I'm really excited about looking into that and checking that out and seeing how that matches up. In my current system right now, if I want to include my Golden Ear reference and my Golden Ear 1Rs, I'm running 6 subwoofers in there right now. So to have two different LFE, dedicated LFE signals there, that means I'll have 3 on one and 3 on the other, which should really smooth out the bass response in the room, but also add another dynamic element that most of the preamps and processors out there aren't able to do yet. So we're really excited about it. Let's get into it. All right, today is the day. We are gonna hook this bad boy up here. I opened up the contents of the ARC box here, which it comes with this really cool stand. I don't think I'm gonna use, I have plenty of these, which is a very heavy duty one here, which is good if you don't have one of these. But I have plenty of these that I use for my videos, for microphones or my lights. So I think for saving time, I'm gonna keep this one in the package. But here is the mic, which is supposed to be a much better quality microphone than the previous versions and what you get with the Odyssey. So I like that there, and it just hooks up via USB. So let's go ahead and take out my Marantz. We'll swap this into the system and see what we get. So here is my Marantz AV 7702 MKII. Gonna swap this thing out here, and kind of sad to see this go. I am trading it in to help offset some of the cost of the AVM 70. This is a great processor here. It worked very well for me, never had any issues, and always decoded well. And I'm a big Marantz fan, always have been, Marantz and Denon. But I thought I'd give Anthem a try, so we're gonna swap this out. Okay, so just in a quick comparison right here, even in size, the AVM is a little bit smaller, which I like. I like having smaller gear that still has, just as good or better output or performance as older, bigger gear, because it just saves space and they're not as difficult to handle. They don't weigh so much. So it's a little bit smaller in size and, all around height and stature. So that's a plus right there. Just a little comparison here. And it did weigh, when I moved it, it is lighter in weight. Shouldn't be a hard transition over. As I said, I use XLR inputs for my connections to my amplifiers over here. I know it's not very bright, it's kind of dark here, and I have it on top. I don't have to pull this out between my shelves at all. So shouldn't take us long to switch it over. Let's get started. One quick thing I wanted to note here is I noticed for some reason the HDMI inputs and outputs are upside down. So you can see right here on my Ruri Pro fiber optic HDMI cable, the name is listed on the top of it, and my, in other devices you would plug it in this way. From here, actually, I have to turn it upside down in order to plug in. So not necessarily sure why that is that way, but it is. So something I just wanted to note. Okay, so here I am with my Marantz. I swapped out the AVM 70. It's already in the setup. You notice right here, I still haven't done anything with the ARC yet because I wanted to just check it out right out of the box. I wanted to see if I could notice anything different out of the box. Some other videos that I watched from other people talking about their setup, they said that they didn't notice any difference right out of the box. And me, however, I did. One of them being when I connected the Bluetooth. So I wanted to turn it on and check it out. I didn't touch any of the settings in there. So I haven't even really looked at the menu in the AVM 70 yet. I went in, found the Bluetooth, paired it up, and right away, I noticed a difference in the sound from my Bluetooth. Now, Bluetooth streaming, I'll do that every now and then. I particularly don't like doing that because you don't get the greatest sound quality through the stream. For me personally, you might experience it and get fantastic sound quality on whatever system you're using, but I prefer hardwire. So I usually will use cables and connect my phone physically or my tablet, so that way I get a really good connection and it gives me better sound quality. But on this one, the Bluetooth for the AVM 70, I noticed it was brighter. Not brighter in a harsh way, but I could feel the music more through my Bluetooth connection, which my Bluetooth connection on my Marantz, it was a little bit dull. That's why I preferred actually either hardwiring it or using CDs. The bass I noticed immediately was tighter. I haven't messed with any of the settings at all, but the bass seemed a lot tighter right away through my Bluetooth. One of the other things I wanted to note, and I'll show here in a quick clip, the power connection through the triggers, as soon as I turn my AVM 70 on, powers up all my Emotiva amps very quickly. Whereas my Marantz didn't do it as fast. I have multiple amps set up, and the way you use those is through your triggers. So from here, I have one trigger input output that goes to one amp, and then my next amp will go trigger down to the next amp, and then the next amp and next amp. So, the power does have to kind of transfer to each individual device. Whereas on my AVM 70, I have it set up the same way. It was almost like they all kind of powered really quick at the same time. So that was just one little difference that I noticed there. Okay, now getting into some audio video. I first wanted to try out my Apple TV. I really like using that because it keeps a library of all of my downloaded movies and music. And the music streaming through my Apple TV, because it is hardwired through the HDMI cable, does give me better music quality than when I'm just using my Bluetooth. But as far as the audio visual goes for the Apple TV through the AVM 70, I didn't notice much difference on the picture quality, so they're about the same. But the sound immediately again was cleaner, sharper, brighter, more energetic, and the agility that I'm noticing through all my speakers now, from the sound, bouncing back and forth, and the bass actually traveling from the back of the room to the front of the room, more and more defined and more exciting, more enjoyable too. So I'm very happy with that as far as the sound quality through my Apple TV. So now, how's it doing for movies?
I tell myself, they cannot touch me. They are long dead.
On a couple of the demos that I use for my Atmos demo quality disc, those were only Blu-ray. I didn't do any 4K ones yet. But the sound, again, immediately right out of the box is sharper, more energetic. I can feel the agility. The sound really does rush and bounce back and forth through the room now, way more than what it did here with my Marantz. And so I'm really excited about that. And I haven't had anything dialed in yet, so once I get into that, I'm sure the sound is going to be that much more sweeter, precise, and revealing for movies. So that's very exciting there. One thing I am noticing, and I may switch out, but my Panasonic, my new DVD player that I got the Panasonic UB9000 4K player. It seems to be a little bit slower in response and reaction than when I had it hooked up to my Marantz. So I might actually go and swap out with my Oppo 203 4K player to see how that was. My Oppo did seem to respond faster and better on my Marantz than the Panasonic one. That probably has nothing to do with either one of the processors. That's more than likely the 4K players themselves. Another thing that I noticed, obviously out of the box, I am going to have to go in and configure some of the speaker settings that I have as to which ones are my height fronts and rears and so forth like that. Because right now it doesn't have just two of my speakers. My height rear channels are out of alignment. The cool thing I like on the latest Atmos demo disc, which I think was maybe around 2015 or 16, so fairly, 6 years old here, but that was the latest version of the demo disc that they had come out outside of the Dolby Vision one. It does have a 15-channel testing mix in there, so I was pretty excited about that. I never really paid attention or noticed that before because, well, I didn't have 15 channels. Now I have the capability of adding 15 channels in. So I'm going to start here first with 13. I'm going to take one of my other Emotiva amps that I have, the XPA 200, which is only a 2-channel amp at 150 watts per channel, so a 300-watt channel amp. I wouldn't say only. It's a really good amp, and it does have good quality sound to it. So I'm going to take and use that one to plug into my system and add 2 other channels in there, which I already have the speakers set up, which are my Golden Ear SuperSat 60s. They're already in alignment, and I have them hooked up there. I just don't have them connected into the system, so there's no sound coming out. Now, as far as bass is going for movies, yes, again, much deeper, stronger quality, tighter bass. And I'm a bass head. I really like that. That is just so exciting and pleasing that I can actually feel bass moving around the room instead of bass just filling the room. Again, as I mentioned before, one of the main reasons that I decided to go with the AVM 70 was because it had 2 separate dedicated LFE channels for that processor, which all the other ones still only have 1. And even if you use a splitter and use multiple subs, it's still only going to give you 1 basic signal, where this one here is giving you 2. And I notice a difference. As I said, I can feel bass moving through the room from front to back, to the sides, and bottom to top. It's truly extraordinary. I really am enjoying that because that is something that no other processor or receiver has been having the capabilities of doing. So I'm really enjoying that right now. Okay, wrapping up with some final thoughts here. Overall, I'm going to rate this machine at an 8.5, and the only reason I'm not going to give it a 9 or a 9.5 is because of the menu. It doesn't have an on-screen display, which means I'd be able to look at the menu on my TV or projector. And it's not very user-friendly. But the reason for that is because it does so many things. It can make adjustments down to the finest detail. So 8.5 here as an overall. Sound is phenomenal and fantastic. Again, having the 2 LFE outputs there, where most receivers or processors still only have 1. You might have 2 outputs for your subwoofer, but you're still only getting 1 signal. This one has 2, and it changes the whole dynamic of the Atmos and surround effects there. Also, that it turns on, it powers up very fast and quick. I like that. I think it powered up faster and quicker, and I mentioned this earlier, than my Marantz did. Not that that was a big difference, or it makes a big difference, but I feel like if it's a stronger power connection, then ultimately you're going to get better performance out of it. And that's what it's doing there. It's delivering. Bluetooth has been working great ever since I synced them up. So I like that. And even the Bluetooth sound and music, like I mentioned before, very good, very clean, and right out of the box. So what I'm going to do here is listen to it out of the box for the next couple of weeks, and then I'm going to dial everything in. I have dialed in a couple of speakers here using the ARC system because I just wanted to check to make sure that it was working. I know a lot of people are wondering about that here. Yes, it is working. I haven't had any problems with it at all. So that's all I have for you guys. Hope that helped, and thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.